For the items and inventory and labels, there are a couple of things that come into play. The first is going to be the actual folder where the documents, the Word documents, PDF, Excels, and all that are stored. Right now, that's in the Google Drive folder, which is shared out to each of the machines up there in the Google Drive account for Cuban Liquor. And in there, you'll see the Cuban Liquor Master List -new .g sheet. That's actually a link to the online Google document. You'll see the linked Word document here, and that's the one that's actually linked to downloaded Excel spreadsheets. You're going to see a PDF, maybe a couple of PDFs. Those were generated labels. You'll see, for instance, this Word document here. That is actually the Word version of this, for instance, of the same PDF containing just the UPCE and the EAN 13 codes. And you'll see things like this spreadsheet here, which is a downloaded copy of the Google Docs spreadsheet, and some other things as well. Now, let's talk about the Google Docs spreadsheet. So the Google Docs spreadsheet is the master spreadsheet for the items, and it possibly in the future could also be for the inventory as well. And that way we always have a central place where all of the items are located. So it doesn't matter whether we use Word and Excel to create barcodes later, or whether we need to import items into the point of sale system. We have one master list that we can always refer to and extract data out or add data to it as needed. And so that's the purpose of the using the Google Doc. And the other nice thing is, of course, that the Google Doc can be worked on collaboratively by multiple people in real time. So that way, if we need to add items in bulk while other people are checking pricing and all that, then, of course, you can do that in real time. And, of course, among other things, it saves revision history and all that. So it makes it very easy to manipulate and use as needed. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet and how it's set up. The first column is simply a sort column. And I put this in here just so we would have some semblance of how we had actually entered items coming down the shelves. And it's just simply increments up by a value of 1, and I just used the auto number to generate that. The item name was typed in individually by both Lance and myself, based on, of course, what the label was on the product itself. The item number is the scanned-in barcode number. The item type is actually a formula, and it looks to see if the item number is 12 characters, then it's a UPC-A. If it's 8, it's a UPC-E. And if it's 13 characters, it's an EAN 13. And if it's an 11-digit number, then it's listed as 11-digit, which at this point I'm still trying to figure out how to do as far as the barcodes. This UPC-A formula cell here, it goes in and substitutes out for the UPC-A formula so that the font will render correctly in the Word document. Now, if it's a UPC-E, then what we do, as you can see in these three products here, is for the UPC-E code to work properly in the Connect Code software, then we have to strip out the first and the trailing characters of that so that it can be entered back into the Connect Code and then the correct font value generated for that. And so that's why we have the UPC-E stripped column here. The font value is just a static representation of the formula over in column E. Notes would be just a column simply for anything that we might need to know about a particular product. Department is the individual departments for the point of sale as entered in by Ron and the guys at Cuban Liquor. And then, of course, is the price, and that's the retail price on the shelf. All right, so that's the basics on how the Google Doc works. If you add more products, so for example here, I've got some Intercell AA batteries, and this is a 16-pack. So I would simply type that in. I will go over to item number and use my barcode scanner to go ahead and just scan that number in, or in this case, I'm going to type it in. All right. Once I do that, then I can take, and may as well go ahead and do it, I can take and just go ahead and autofill this entire set of cells down. And notice it will automatically tell me that that's a UPC-A code. It will come up with the correct characters for the font to actually use in the mail merge document. Of course, it's not a UPC-E, so we get a dash in there per the formula. And then the font value here did a copy and paste from here. So all I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to copy this to the clipboard. And then I'm going to move over here and do an edit paste special and just simply paste the value itself in. And then, of course, this would not be beer. Let's just say that this would be under accessories. I don't know. I'm making up a department here. And let's say that the cost on this is $9.99. And so that's how we would enter in a new item. We could also just type it in, but we could use autofill to enter in the next sort number. And that, again, that sort column is just so that I have a way to sort these items as entered. So that shows you how to actually enter in a new item into the spreadsheet itself. So the next thing is, how do we take this spreadsheet and how do we use it with Microsoft Word to do a mail merge for the barcodes and for the labels and other things? So the first thing that we're going to do is let's export a copy from here. All right, so we go up to File, we go to Download As, and we can bring it down in several formats. In this case, we're going to keep it easy. Let's bring it down as Microsoft Excel format, and it's going to bring down a local copy. So I'm going to show it in Finder. Of course, if you were doing this on Windows, you would bring it up in Windows Explorer. And this is my new document here. All right. And what I need to do then is I need to open this up in Excel or whatever spreadsheet program that you have, and you can then manipulate column headers, filter out data, or whatever you need to do to this particular spreadsheet to get it ready for processing in whatever application. Okay, I've opened up my Google Drive folder on my Mac. And of course, again, if you're on Windows, this works basically the same way. You open up your Google Drive folder, and I'm in the Cuban Liquor-Items-Inventory subfolder. And notice in here, I've got a document here. The original one is HTD6-3R_T004.doc. So I'm going to open that up first and bring that up in Word. And notice that this is a template for labels, all right? And this one was downloaded from the internet specifically because this particular company provides a pre-perforated label fit to these sizes. Now, I've also done this document where it has the grid lines printed on it so that you can actually cut these with a paper cutter if you don't want to order the pre-perforated one. Now, the pre-perforated labels are the ones that I found are at labelsbythesheet.com, and these are 1¼ by 3 inch, which was what we had measured to fit in the shelf bracketing that's on your shelves. So again, you can order these pre-perforated or print them with the grid lines and use a paper cutter to go ahead and cut them out. All right, so in this case, though, I'm going to close out of this document, and we're going to open up the actual one that is linked. And when I first open that up, of course, it needs to know where the spreadsheet is. In this case, I already have it linked. So I'm going to open that up, and it's going to say, oh, okay, well, you want to link over to this spreadsheet that you've downloaded, this Excel spreadsheet. And so we click OK. And this is just using simple mail merge. And as you can see here, I have pre-formatted this label to use the appropriate fonts, and I've also put the logo in as a watermark. All right, so let me get over to label number 1. All right, so let's kind of dissect the way that this works here. This is the field for the UPCA stripped, or I'm sorry, it's the field for the font value, okay, which is just the pure font value, which is this field here in the mail merge. And I'm using the font here, which comes with the Connect Code software. All right. And so this particular font tells the characters that we have input or that have come in from this mail merge spreadsheet and to put them in the correct order. So if I preview the data, notice that we get a nice barcode in here. And then, of course, I've told it to bring in the item name field here. And then I've also told it to bring in the price field here. And I've told it to bring in the department field here. And then I've just modified the font sizes so that everything looks nice. And then for the logo, I did that as a header and footer so that it would stay embedded behind each deal. And then, of course, I've got a next record flag right here at the end of all this, so it will jump over to the next label and just fill those in. And so what happens is when we actually merge these together, then it just takes all the items from the spreadsheet, populates them into the field, and then we can merge these out. So once we actually do a merge here, if we take a look at this document, this would be the end result. And so this is all the products, or at least this is the UPC-E and the EAN13 document that I did. And you can see everything's formatted nicely. When we print these out, it actually does print the gray grid lines. Let me close out of this, and I'll pull up the PDF version just to show you what they'll look like as they print. As a matter of fact, let's bring this up in Acrobat Pro. Just to give you an example, I'm going to rotate the pages here in Acrobat Pro just so we can see them and see what they look like here. And we'll zoom in a little bit. But notice this is what the actual printed page will look like. And so it's going to actually print the grid lines, and it's got the correct barcode in, and because we're using a font in the Word document, that barcode is scalable. And that means that I can make that as large or small as I need to, depending on my document needs. So as an example, if I bring the document back up, notice here, see, I can scale this down very small, and it will print at a resolution that the barcode scanner will still pick it up. I can also increase the size of this barcode. And that's the reason that we're using the fonts to actually do that versus trying to put these in as images. And the other reason that we're using the fonts is, of course, it's much faster. And so that's how the Word documents are constructed. They're just using a simple mail merge. You could do it with any type of labeling that you wanted to. The mail merge is linked to the whatever spreadsheet that you tell it to, and we just simply lay it out and then use the correct fonts. Now, the key to all this is you have to have the correct font value in this field so that Word will know what to put in there as far as the barcode and the actual font itself.